Well, John.
Hey.
Hi.
Thanks for meeting me here.
So this is our small group coaching session.
Very small. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Good morning.
You're part of our very small group coaching session.
Hey.
You made it.
I did. I just said, I'm going to get up. There's something on the computer I want to go and do. And he said, okay. And rolled over and went back to sleep.
Yay.
Yeah.
What is it, 4 in the morning?
No, 7.
Oh, okay.
7 on Saturday morning. It's quite reasonable. It's just Saturday morning. That's why I look like this.
Well, so it is just the two. Oh, it's not just the two of you. I wasn't sure who was coming. Hi,
Hello.
honey. Hi, Yvonne.
Hello.
How are you? I'm fine. Good. Cool. Well, so I don't know if Amy's going to be joining us or not. And I don't think Jolynn is. She's pretty busy at the hospital. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you guys, this is your session. So I know it's early in the morning for some of you and late for others. If you guys could get anything out of this hour, what would it be? Including you.
Oh, I'm not sure, but maybe the reason why I almost wasn't going to be here, maybe that's the thing. It's like the undercurrent that I've got going on about don't quite want to own up to what I do or be seen or something. And obviously I'm changing it, but what else? More of that, probably.
Okay. Choice. So I don't know where to go with that.
Choice, yeah.
I love your response. It's only a good day when I've been told to back off of this one. Well, so what else do you want to be doing? Is there more that you want to be doing that you're not doing? Like, or do you have an awareness of things you'd like to be doing that you're not choosing, or is it something else?
And I've just got another thing that's come that I'd like some more information on. What is it? Because it's not like Drew stops me from doing anything.
Yeah.
It's my perception that I think he's going to, or that
well,
other people don't think what I do is serious enough to value it to let me be seen doing it. That crunchy, funky stuff.
Yeah, all the points of you creating that. Can you just join and create all that?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, nature, it's wisdom. Yeah, I was really grateful for your video actually about that, because I've had periods. I think even when I moved in here with these guys, and we all sort of do the same work, but I was keeping what I created like sort of hidden and in another bedroom, so that I don't know why, and one of the things that started changing, I think the thing that really started changing that is, no, I don't know what started changing that. But there was all this energy around like not wanting them to judge my ideas and not wanting, like, losing my words when I got in front of other real people or
real people. Yeah.
That is, can we just join and create all that?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, interest with me. And I'm, with this whole conversation about rejection that's been coming out of the sex and relationship class, I'm just actually wondering, is there anything that you're doing to reject yourself before they can, or something like that?
Probably. It's probably a self-protection mechanism. If I reject it, then I can get that out of the way and not be hurt by somebody else, probably.
Yeah, which makes it really hard to put your work out into the world.
But it was a whole lot easier yesterday to just talk to these ladies and just say that I've been doing this emotional clearing work, and that they were, two of them have already received it, and it was an easier conversation to have rather than into all of the, oh, well, I'm a kinesiologist and kinesiology is blah, 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 in which case they've glazed over and you've lost them.
Well, because they don't care about what you are. They actually want to feel better.
Yeah. So when I talk to them about their emotions, then that's it. Yeah, you could see them wake up and think, oh, maybe I could have some of that.
Right.
So that was way easier. So yeah, simplifying it's helped a lot.
Cool. Cool. Give me 2 seconds, you guys, and feel free to talk amongst yourselves. But Carlene is at the hospital and she's just asking me for something real quick.
Helen.
Yeah.
Use of your tripod.
Oh.
Excellent choice.
Well,
I tried to buy one today, but I couldn't find it.
I wanted one that could do the cell phone, and because I've actually got a proper camera that I hardly ever get out of the cupboard, I wanted one that I could screw into my camera. So, this is the only one that does that. Otherwise, they just wanted to sell me a selfie stick, and I'm like, no, the selfie stick's not what I had in mind.
And this can be a selfie stick if you wish it to be.
I know, I can see that. Yeah.
You might find it on Amazon. It's Manfrotto. It's an Italian company.
Oh, okay, Manfrotto.
It's over there on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's and you can. I put my phone in it. I use it as a stand, so I can watch all these videos while I'm having lunch. And yeah, fabulous.
Is it with Bluetooth or?
Manfrotto.
No, it doesn't.
No. It's just a tripod. Just a tripod.
So you have to put your finger to start the video.
Yeah. You got to touch your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Carlina okay?
Yeah, she's fine. She's just about to go into surgery. So I just wanted, she was just making a note for me to ask her to destroy and uncreate any projections and expectations after she got out. Because she didn't know she would remember. I'm like, on it. Yeah, cool.
The other thing that this week, and because I've listened to a lot of your stuff this week, and I don't know where I heard it, but there was something that went past about business isn't about money or something, and was it something that Bowman said or something? And I caught that bit, and then I what was that? What do you mean business isn't about money? And if it's not, what it is about?
Yeah, well, the purpose of the Bowman's business is to create change.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with money. And it happens to be fun for them, so money happens to follow that, right? Money follows joy. But
right.
Not the purpose of the business to create money. And
okay.
I saw that so clearly illustrated in the telecall that we hosted with them, because in the beginning, we'd created this telecall. We had 6 promoters that were all getting the call for free. And I would say the majority of the people that were going to be on the call were free. So we had 3 paid participants up to 3 days before the call. And I'm like, this is the Bowmans. This is Gary and Dane, really different. And so I had a point of view about that. And so we had a creation call of just hey, what can we generate? What can we create? And they were just so grateful for all of us and so grateful that we were all there. And there was not even a hint of energy about who was on the call or who wasn't on the call. And I just looked at that. I kept being with that energy and kept being with, because I have done really something different, which is that when there's not a lot of people, or when there's only one or whatever, however many people on a thing, I go to talk about that instead of the gratitude of it. And because I have a point of view about how much it creates. And up to this point, my business has been about making money. Mm-hmm. And so I've been just playing with one of the questions that Gary asks on the business calls that I've been listening to a lot in the last 2 days is, he says, you've got to know what the purpose of your business is. Mm-hmm. If the purpose of your business is just to create money, that's pretty small. But you have to acknowledge what it is first. If that is the purpose of your business, then you just need to acknowledge it and then go, okay, so what other choices do I have if you want to change it? Mm-hmm. And I was like, so for me, the purpose of my business was money. And I was like, okay, so what else is there? Is that actually my purpose, or is it something else? Because I couldn't even get to that question until I first acknowledged where I was really functioning from. And And I realized like there is another purpose to what my business is. I just haven't really been functioning from it. And it's to eliminate judgment. Like it's something around those lines. I don't know if that's exactly the words, but it's not totally to create change. It's like to like eradicate judgment. And
Okay.
so I'm going to be playing with like, if I were functioning from that as a purpose, what would I be aware of here? What would any of this other stuff even matter? And what would I create?
Okay, cool.
You know?
So I've been trying to force my business to be about money, and it hasn't been. But when I did the Talk to the Entities class with Liam in June, he asked me then what the purpose of my business was, and it was about empowering people.
Cool.
And I think when I think back, even when I used to do IT project management like 20 years ago, it was always about empowering people. I was the one who told you how to fix your own computer, so I didn't have to come back next time.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's cool. So what if I'm functioning from that place?
Yeah, and you have no point of view about receiving money.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
Well, it's not. We make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty simple. It's like so then it's like, okay, so how much money am I willing to receive for what's fun for me to do? So how much are we using to create the money we're not choosing? And everything that is can be destroyed and created. Right.
Yeah.
I have a little thing to share from a couple of days ago. So I got a call from a really dear client, and they were in a panic. Their computer, IT.
Yeah.
It was doing all kinds of heinous things, and they were just in a panic because they were doing payroll in 2 days. So at first it asked me to come by and do some maintenance, and since I'm over in Vancouver, I just haven't had a chance, and I was going to stop by the next time I'm on the island. And it became from that to an emergency, and they flew me over. And they flew me over in the morning. They picked me up. They brought me lunch. They brought me coffee. They brought me treats, and then let me borrow their truck so that I can go home and water the plants, pick up the mail, and then put me back on the plane again. And this is not a trivial thing. I mean, it's a lot of money to fly me back and forth for a 20-minute plane ride. And I was at one point I was thinking like, oh, do I charge them full pop? I mean, they flew me over.
Yeah.
And I went into this kind of tunnel that I used to do it all the time, which is this is a lovely client. They're really like taking their time out too. And invariably I'd put myself second.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what was really fun for me to discover was that I wanted to just clear that point of view of there's some sort of balance sheet, that they're going to be counting how much the money they spent on me. And really it was just what the day became was this gratitude of receiving whatever they offered me to create ease in my work so that I can create the best solution for them that I could. And we both did it with joy, and I just charged them what I would have charged them, regardless of the circumstance. And everybody was happy as far as I can tell. I mean, I was certainly happy. This is the weird thing about business, is that about money, if it was about making money, is that even maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, certainly, I probably would have thought, oh, I should like take a little bit off the bill or give them a discount or something like that. And I'd do that to make myself feel like less of a jerk, my point of view, and my judgment of myself. And then on the way home, I'd be thinking like, oh, well, that wasn't as much money as I'd really like to get for this. And then this weird circle of beating myself up. Why do we do this?
It's fun!
Apparently. Yeah, I can totally relate to that little rabbit hole. Yeah, one of the clients yesterday who was at this networking meeting, she's been my client for, I don't know, 5-6 years, maybe, at least. And I still charge her what I used to charge her then. And
5 years.
And but I also kind of don't. I'm also okay with that because of where her situation is. But I'm conscious of the fact that I do something different for her.
Yeah, and what I want to point out is you had to justify what you're choosing.
Yeah.
But you don't. You can just choose it. And when you have justification, you're actually, I can't put into words what we're doing with that, but it negates our choice. Like it just doesn't, it disempowers us from what we're choosing. It's like, have fun charging for that. Like, that's it. You don't have to explain it to anybody. You don't have to explain it to yourself. It doesn't have to be a reason for it. It can just be fun.
Yeah.
So it's like, so all the stories, justifications that we're using to create the prices and choices about money that we're choosing, could we just start to loosen that up? Time to complain when you're thinking about that.
Yeah.
It can just be what you're choosing. Like sometimes I choose to lower my prices just because it's fun. And then other times I'm like, that's not fun. So yeah.
Yeah, and sort of related to this is about tying my perception of like my self-worth, what I'm worth, with my billings.
So could an infinite being be worth anything?
No.
Or everything? Or
it's worth everything, or
whatever that is. Like if infinite being is just being, is worth even a thing, or is it an invention? Like what's an infinite being worth? Exactly. $5. I mean, it gets crazy. It's like we've invented all of this worth stuff that isn't even a thing. It's like, it's when you really look at it from an infinite being perspective, it's like, well, am I worth this? Am I worth, So everything, all the lies, inventions, and creations that we've created around this, could we destroy and create all that?
Yeah.
Pipeline online shorts, boys and beyonds. Remember what you were going to say?
No, that was really it. That's something we've learned, that the government says you must pay somebody a minimum wage, so that's sort of baseline any human being, whatever they're doing when they get a job, that's what they're worth at the baseline. And then we have these wage reviews and people decide, and we point to whatever they consider we're worth per hour, whatever our toil is, and whatever our CEO is worth versus a doctor versus a street cleaner, and what a person's worth or creative.
And then there's the whole conversation that my clients come to me with about maybe they're not worthy of the whatever it is that they're looking for, which is just like rubbish.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's just looking at like it always comes back to what do we want to create? Like, what do I want to what I want to receive? Like I was looking at, if my prices weren't as high as they were, I'd probably have more one-on-one sessions. And I was like, do I want more one-on-one sessions? I was like, I don't think I do want more, and that's an interesting point of view also, that if my prices weren't as high, I'd have more. I'm also not asking for more. I'm not like, what would it take to have like 15 one-on-one clients? I'm not even asking for that. So it's also looking at like, okay, so am I even asking for what it is that I say that I want when I'm talking to somebody, or when I'm talking about my business? Am I even asking for that? Or am I just...
I got to that point this week when I came to the realization that I've actually created everything I wanted. It's just that what I wanted, I didn't quite put all of the information on. Like I forgot to include money. So I said I wanted to work at home, and I work at home, but I work at home as a housewife. That's not what I meant. So yeah, that list of my changing my ask on the post this week is starting to actually ask for what I want.
Yeah, cool. And I've been playing with too, as far as money goes, like if I didn't need money from any one direction, how many different ways of paying money could I create? Like if I because putting need on my classes actually makes them less, and I come to conclusion and I have expectations, and then that kills the energy. And right, so if I didn't need any of that, what could I create? Like, how many different ways of creating money am I actually capable of?
Yeah.
Another random thing. But Yvonne,
Cool.
how's your world?
I can relate to some of the stuff that Helen and you have talked about. I still think it's difficult to go out to the world and say, here I am, and see what I can. But today, I don't know if you have seen my video today, but I was given a free session to a person I know. And it was a very good session, bar session. And I also did some work with her arm and so. And she said to me, "Oh, you are," as did she say? She was saying it was very good, and you really can. You are really able to do something. Something about amazing or something like that. So when people say these things to me, I think it's nice, and I get light, and oh yeah, I would love to do this more. But nothing happens. But it's nice to have this, to be filled up of this lightness, and yeah, I really love doing this.
I mean, one of the things I play with that you could play with is when you receive that energy into your world, use it to create more. So like when I've had a really great session, I get on the video camera like immediately, because I'm like, I am in an energy right now that I can't duplicate in another moment, right? Like this is the moment to say something about this. So that's one of the things I do with it. It's like I use all of the energies in my life to create stuff, and then I act like right that second on something, whether it's maybe whether it's to create another class or not. I'm putting something else out into the world using that energy, because I'm so aware that energies change and flow and ebb and flow all the time. So that's something you could invite yourself to over the next week or next couple of weeks, of like, and along hand in hand with that, like if I'm having a life where there aren't a lot of those energies present, I go creating them. I'll go create them. Meaning, like, if what is going to create lightness in your world about doing bars right now, I'm just using this as an example. If it does create lightness in your world to do bars on people that are really grateful, or to do bars on people and see if they're really grateful, then what would it take to just get your hands on people's heads so that you could add that energy to your life and use that to create, right? So I always have to look at the energy of my life, and if I'm feeling meh, I'm like, okay, so what can I change? Can I go for a walk? Can I run someone's bars? Can I go for a run? Can I go see a movie? Can I go to a bookstore? Can I go talk to somebody? Can I get somebody to ask me questions? Like, what can I change that would change the energy of my world? And then I use that energy to create with.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that trips us up is like we have these expectations of ourselves that we should be able to do certain things from the same place that we've really never been able to do them. Like,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So there's that. And then, I mean, are you asking? So it's an interesting energy when you talk about your business, because it's like you get really excited about the one thing, and then there's big but energetically. So what's that?
When you talked about before that, what is your purpose with your business? I think I have to think more about that.
Yeah. Cool.
Because the issue have been I would like to have an income, to earn some money. So
well, and it's not that money is wrong either. So
no.
Yeah.
But as you said, do I want to change something for people or whatever? Yeah. So I think that's a thing I have to look at also.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that getting out of this has to create money. One of the things that getting out of that is gifting me in space where money isn't relevant anymore. Where it's like, if the purpose of my business is to eliminate judgment or to create change, all of a sudden the fact that there's money is like, oh my God, that's really cool. There's money there, right? But it takes away that need and that requirement and that expectation met with force. Because when I have an expectation, I come after it with a lot of force. And if you're in my way, you die in the problem. You know, the only thing that prevents people from dying is that I leave the room. And,
so true, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah. And, you know, I was talking to Carlina about that this morning, and this is sort of a sideways way of talking about what you were talking about, but like, you know, like there's been expectations showing up in my world with certain people that I work with or I'm in relationship with. And when it's not happening the way I've decided it needs to happen, I'm angry. And that's been going on for the last 4 days. And so today I was like, this has to change. Like, it just has to change. So I started running clearings on anger and blah, blah, blah. And then I started asking Carlina, I'm like, so I know there can't be anger unless I have an expectation. She's like, yeah. And with an expectation of something, you actually kill it because you come to conclusion about what it's supposed to be. And so there was this whole topic of like, what's fast? You know, like when somebody says they can deliver something fast, what is that for me? And what do they mean by it? And I always go, when they say to me that they can do it fast, I assign my definition of fast to what they've said. But they're functioning from what's fast in their world. You know, so for me, what might be a 3-hour thing for them could be 3 or 4 days or 24 hours or whatever. And then I get to be mad about that because they aren't functioning from what I decided that I didn't share. So there's this, so that's just a people example, but we do the same thing with our business of like, I have the expectation that this business should create an extra income. Well, it's not a question. It's not a possibility. It's a choice. It's a decision. It's a conclusion. And also it's like, the energy of it is like this horse out in front of a cart that you've decided needs to go as fast as it needs to go. And you're whipping it, which obviously isn't working. So I was like, okay, so what the expectation doesn't allow me to do is actually, when this person says, okay, this is going to be fast, let me actually ask a question of like, okay, so what is that to you? Like, what's the time frame that you see? And this is actually the time frame we require. So this is cool. This is fine, but we're going to use this for something else. And then we're going to institute it in this way, because for the moment we actually require it done in a much different time frame. But I would be required to be aware instead of angry. Because when I go to anger, I'm not actually able to be aware of how everything is functioning so that I can institute it in the way that really works for me and the other person gets to be what they are. So there was a whole Creative Edge telecall yesterday about time that I have to listen to 15 times before I can really articulate it. But one of the things I do remember is that when we're functioning from time, of like, in which we all do, like, this is too slow, this is too fast, blah, blah, blah. You're actually functioning from total judgment. And then things with judgment kills everything. It doesn't actually allow anything to show up. So there's this allowance for how everything does function, just allows you to be aware and ask questions. So like, okay, cool. I'm aware of what that is in your world. I'm aware of what this is in my world and what's required. Okay, well, it would be more fun to do it this way, so let's do it that way. I get to be the leader of my life. Nobody dies. Everybody gets to be themselves, and then we move on. So with a business, I'm just actually curious, like, how does that show up with business? Like, if I'm not expecting this has to create this certain amount of money. It actually never does. That's just my interesting point of view that it has to do that. So what would be fun for me is a very different question, right? Like, is it fun for you to run bars? Is it fun for you to see change in people's lives? Is the purpose of your business something other than what you've decided it should be or is? And that's where the lightness and the space comes in. Because if it's fun for you, that's a whole different creation space of like, it's just fun for me. So anybody who wants to bars run, get over here. And you will accidentally create a business because it's fun for you. I use accidentally loosely.
Yeah, and I really have to dig into this fun part. It was also one of the first questions you said in the first call, I think. So what is really fun for me? And I find it difficult to find out, okay, what is really fun for me? What brings me joy? Because joy is not a big thing in my life or something that I have in my life every day or something. I'm more
That's only your problem.
Oh, okay.
I've never had that experience myself.
Well, it's funny as a facilitator because you usually attract people that deal with exactly what you deal with. And like when I first started with X, I didn't know what fun was. Like I still get to discover it all the time because I'm so good at going into work mode, like, and ignoring my body and ignoring, like I've been so good at that for so many years that I'm in an ongoing discovery of that. And I don't know that that's ever going to change. I think it's always an ongoing, uncovering. But I started asking for like what to be able to be and know and perceive and receive what joy was for me with total ease. And one of the things I discovered was that it didn't look like how anybody else's looked like, was the first thing. Like joy in my world many times didn't show up as really exuberant expression, and then sometimes really did. And that things that were joyful for me, I had these definitions of joyful. And when things were joyful for me, they tended to show up in this thrum of just intense contentment and happiness and peace, and of something I just created or a change I just helped facilitate, or there was a really different energy to joy than I had decided it looked like. So all the decisions, judgments, computations, and conclusions that we have about what joy is, what fun is, what that even means, can we just destroy and create all that?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all the insurance, boys and beyonds. Like, one of the weird truths about me was that it's really fun for me to work a lot. Like, really fun. I would rather be working than having a stupid conversation. And by stupid, I just mean small talk. I'm like, I would rather, instead of go to dinner with friends, I would rather have a laptop party with wine. That would be more fun. And so starting to acknowledge where I was really different, and I was different in ways that this reality judges, right? Like, you're a workaholic if you do that. You are antisocial. You are, yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting because when you say this kind of things, I get, oh yeah, there is actually other possibilities, and yeah, what is joy? My definition or others' definition, and I think I have tried to find other people's definition of it instead of what is it for me.
Yeah, and just ask the universe to show you. Yeah, just start asking, like, hey, universe, will you show me what joy is for me that I'm not able to perceive? And just keep asking because it will show up. Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm connecting a couple of things together. I read a couple of, I'm paraphrasing, that you really know what somebody likes to do or what makes them happy when they do the thing, when they don't have to do it, and when they don't have to do it for work, and when nobody's watching. And so what is that? What is that thing that you do in your spare time when nobody's making a demand of you? What is it that you do that makes you happy or contentment or feel that sense of well-being? And one of the things I did was along those lines was to just go hiking. I'd go up on a mountain, and go on a trail, and then just being out in the open and the heights and the views and the air and the animals and the plants, it just gave me a sense of well-being. I call that joy. That's from my perspective. And while I was being that, I would feel compelled, okay, I want to capture this. This is beautiful. And what I capture isn't always what I see. And I just made it a I don't know what to call it. It's just a passion, I guess. I made it a passion or just an interest or hobby. I just wanted to capture and see how closely I can get it. So how much of this image can I capture that reflects the energy that I perceived when I was there in that place at that time, and in the state of being that I was. And then I started to think about, well, I'd love to be traveling more. I'd love to be doing this. And over time and not knowing how it would show up, it turned out that it allowed me to travel, and then what I was capturing in my phone or my camera became the thing that which people wanted to pay me money for. They valued it in a certain way for their needs, and it became that. I didn't set out to go hiking and go, well, I want to make some money with this because this looks great and some people like it. Let's see how much money I can make with this. I was just having fun. And I was creating something that was bringing joy to me and nobody else. It became something that brought joy to other people, and that they wanted to give me their energy for it. So that's one of the things that came up for me in this thing about joy, and also creating a business without the need for money being tied into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
And for me, like, facilitating is like, I've been a facilitator forever. Like, I was a facilitator with my friends. I was always the one people came to. I always became an expert on stuff, so people came to me. Like, I was always the person that people wanted to come talk to for stuff. And so this, like, just matched, and it just did it. It was just what I am. And so when I found out you could be a facilitator and actually create a business around it, I was like, what? You know? And so, and then showing up on video is really fun for me. Like, it's all really just easy. And where I get tripped up is when I try to start creating my online business, like online business people. That's what really fucks me up, because then I'm like, but and then I try it, and then I learn some stuff. I've always learned stuff. But then as soon as I try to be not me, and I try to do something if somebody else is telling me should work, I get all fucked up. So, yeah, so I think it's just looking at, like, what do you naturally every single thing that you naturally gravitate to can become a source of income. And like Brett Rockmore posted the other day about this guy that just had a love affair with mushrooms. And he loved them. He would walk outside and go on these mushroom hunting trips. And he became a mushroom expert. And then down the road, like, I forget the story, but it's almost like he was featured on some cooking shows. It's like all of his mushrooms were like the thing. And then he like went to a museum it just turned into this like out of control. He wrote a picture book about mushrooms. He just has this obsession with mushrooms. Like, that's not normally something that you would look as a possible income stream. But it was more than that. Like, it's like turned into 18 different revenue streams for him, or something.
Wow.
Yeah. And I haven't even looked at my life that closely to even discover, like, I've got so many skills, like landscape design, and I've got administration, and I've done the physical trainer thing. I've done the nutrition thing. I've dated a lot. I've been married, divorced, had affairs. Like every single facet of my life, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, like all these things, like people make whole careers off these things. So for me personally, I had to look at, and what's fun for me? What would be fun for me to actually create, right? Because I can do a lot of things, and what do I just naturally gravitate to that is easy?
See, one of the things that I matches the energy of what you were talking about, John, that you go and do it when nobody else is around and nobody's watching, is I'll go and play in the garden. And just, when I look back at my life, when I was at school, and they go through the whole, here they went through the whole thing of some giving you some career advice on what you should be and what courses you should do. And I said I like playing with plants. They decided that I should go and do a degree in horticultural science, which I did, which wasn't what I meant.
I did the same thing with landscape design. That's funny.
Well, it's funny because I wanted to do landscape design, but they I can't remember what happened or why I didn't. And then that's the thing I'll go and do. I'm looking out the window at the moment, and there's like a million different plants and pots, and I'll go and pot around in the garden and things. So I wonder And also, it's interesting. I don't want to make that about money. It's like I want to keep that separate from money because that's fun. That weird.
Money's bad.
Everything that is, can we destroy it and create all that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Well, it's like Gary said, business is the thing you do that's fun for you that happens to make money. Like, it's the thing you do that's fun for you. Like, one of the things about gardening that we were looking at with one house we were looking at is that it had the previous owners had fully patterned concreted the entire front yard. So it was just one big swath of concrete, which was really upsetting to my body. And it turns out I need to be around quite a few trees and green and so we were considering this house for a lot of other reasons. And I was like, well, you know what? I could container garden the entire front, in a way that's really beautiful. I've never done it before, but I could. And so I'd have to do some research on how do you do a full-on container garden and with the seasons that we have here and protect them from frost and because I know enough to know that there's stuff you need to know.
Yeah.
But I just want to be going onto YouTube and looking for books and things like that, for people where this is their thing and they know a lot about it because I don't. So every single thing that you know a lot about that's easy for you is a possibility for, if you did get to hang out in your garden all day and make videos and do a YouTube channel and someone could find them and, what if that was a possibility and that could be really fun. That's what I look at all the time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't be about money in the beginning.
I did something in participating in the Symphony of Possibilities class last year. I made a friend there, a British woman, and we decided to make a long distance swap. And I thought that when I did this first time, it was so amazing. We only text each other, so we hadn't any Skype or whatever. So I have my massage table here, and then I did give her the session. And it was so marvelous just to be in the room and just to work with it, whatever it was my hands were doing. And also laughed also because there wasn't any people looking at me. So I could just go what I did. And that was a really very good experience, not to be looked at or watched while I did it. And we both have a really amazing experience. So that was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, distance SOP sessions are awesome. That's why we stream SOP classes, because the distance sessions are sometimes better than the personal sessions. Yeah, that's another possibility too.
Yeah.
I've never had an SOP session.
I bet.
Oh, do you want one? I actually made a homepage, a website for it.
Cool.
So both for individual in English, of course, and then for individual SOP sessions, but also I did also some group stuff with SOPs. I didn't have a lot of participants, but it was also fun to make the website. So.
Well, one of the things you could do if you wanted to play with it is you could offer taster sessions to everyone in the group, and in exchange for a little video testimonial about how it was for them, and you could use those testimonials on your website and you could start playing with charging.
Yeah.
Yvonne, can I ask you a question, Yvonne?
Yes, please.
When you were just talking about all of that SOP stuff, did you notice the shift in your energy?
No, I didn't.
Happy.
No? Happy, light, animated,
yes,
like that.
Yeah, Helen just said what I was.
We were all like, yes. Oh my goodness.
Yes, you lit
that.
Actually, when I did the first SOP in the group, I think that there was 2 or 3 participants, and I did that by Zoom. And when I did this, the SOP, I also made the molecule and expand exercises, but also the molecules. So when they returned to the screen, and I was asking them, okay, how was it? And so when I saw my face at the screen, I was, what? Because actually I saw how happy I was and how fun I thought, and I was smiling big. And so I really look at, oh, what's going on here? So yeah.
Called happiness.
Yeah, happiness.
You don't want that.
I think you know what's fun for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Helen, for us. And John also. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, concludes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what I was just getting as you were talking, it's like, just because we have, like, bars is a great tool. I love bars. I love receiving bars. I'm happy to trade bars, but it's not something I have an interest in creating a business around. And I think once we get bars, you know, there's this like, but it's so great and I should want to create a business. But there's lots of people that love to do bars and love to create bars businesses that don't have to be us. And I'm not saying you don't want to, but it also, like, anywhere you decide, judge, computed, and concluded that you have to create a bars business just because you can, and you just try to.
Yeah.
Right, we got Pop on the Insurance Boys and Beyonds. I talk to so many of, you know, the people tend to like to work with me are the people that love bars, but are like, but what else? Yeah, they just, it's like something we don't want to say, because like we should want this, because it's awesome.
Yeah. So I've been a bars facilitator for a year, and I haven't run a bars class yet. I almost ran one, but I didn't, and I kind of want to, but I'm not. But maybe it's because I think that I should want to. But I'd actually just really like a lot more people in my area to swap with.
So what could you do?
And if that means that I have to teach a class so there's more people so I can swap with, then I can do that.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So do that.
yeah.
Made bars practitioners.
So it's almost time to renew my bars facilitator license, and I'm like, I think it's gone up. Is it 200 American or something now? And I'm like, do I want to spend that on something I'm not really doing?
Is it light or heavy?
It's so light.
Yeah, really light. Not.
Yeah, what do you really desire to be creating that you're not? Because, you know, and this is what I noticed about myself, when I'm all wrapped up in the shoulds of what I think I should create, I can't even get to what I'd actually like to create, because I'm so busy. I'm busy.
And busy in the shoulds.
Yeah. So everywhere we've kept ourselves busy in the shoulds and not allowed ourselves to go beyond that, can we just try and create all that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a similar thing when Yvonne started talking about S.O.B and you started talking about being in your garden. You guys have similar energy. And I'm not saying you want to start a garden business. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm
Yeah.
the energy. I'm like, and also when you talk about this emotional release stuff, you really like that. Whatever else goes with whatever else you do, whatever you-ness you add to your sessions, I get that it's not just that. Ours is just one choice.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people that love running them, that love having bars businesses. Like I know people, we have a lady in town who took a bars class from me, and she's got clients out the wazoo, and they're here in Vancouver on my side of the lake. They're right down the street. You know, I don't have those people. Why? Because I don't have any interest in even having that. But she loves it. She's like, I added bars to all my clients, and they love it, and they get more, and you know, she's thriving. So cool. Like, that's the gift of all of us being so different, is like, what actually lights you up? What is actually like giving you life?
So I can take that energy of the garden stuff and ask, where else? What else?
Yeah. And what would it be like to have this energy in everything that I do? And what would it be like to choose more of this energy? And what would it be like to create a business as this energy, from this energy? What would it be like to receive money for being this energy? Like, What would that even be like? I mean, just ask all over the map. Like, yeah, exactly. Extrapolate that energy all over your life.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hey, John. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Helen.
Hey, yeah.
My friends just left, so sorry I'm joining so late.
Oh, that's okay. Well, we've got 9 minutes left, and we've run through everybody else's lives. Do you want to jump in for 9 minutes? If you have not, it's okay if you want to just hang out.
What have you been talking about?
We've just really been looking at like what's actually fun. Everywhere we decided, because we have it's a lot of stuff, but everywhere we decided, just because we have bars as a skill, that we have to create that as a business. Yvonne was talking about S.O.B sessions and just got giddy. Right before that, she was saying she didn't know what was fun for her.
Yeah. Feels like S.O.B is fun for her.
Yeah. And then Helen, we were just chatting about some around there. We were talking about how she goes out into her garden and just like loves puttering around the garden. And John was talking about how he started hiking, and then when he was hiking, he was just inadvertently taking pictures to try to capture the moment, and those pictures turned into a whole thing that he got to make a business out of around photography. So just really looking at beyond the shoulds of what we think we should create as a business into like what, because when you're stuck in the shoulds, you can't actually become aware of what really lights you up that would create everything you desire with these. So just that.
That's great. You're right. I mean, life is about having fun, right?
Well, that's what we're told. Is it for you? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. How's it going with your coaching thing? Or your other coach, or that whole?
I feel like I finally made some really good steps this week. So combination of this class and that coaching thing, and that's good.
Are you
Made some progress.
Are you doing the receiving things with Kalpana too?
Yeah, today was day 15. Fantastic. Yeah. Big receiving.
Yeah.
And your Facebook Live was so good. I could not believe it was your first one.
Yeah, my first one.
I'm proud of all of you for just doing it. And I say proud from a colleague point of view. I'm just so, because I know that choosing that can be like,
Thank you for the challenge. I would not have done it otherwise.
Thank you guys for choosing it, because not everybody is.
Would have been very easy to not choose it.
Yeah. That's cool.
And I really want to, it's wonderful to see into people. Helen, I've watched yours, and it's great. You see a piece of these people on the other side of the world and their lives and who they are, who they be. And yeah, it's really touching. So thank you for posting those.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I can't get the live to go live. Why it just sits there telling me that my Wi-Fi is not strong enough, and I've changed to my Wi-Fi's, and it's got all the Wi-Fi fan thing going on, so I don't know why that's not working, but it's interesting that I'm not letting that stop me. It'd be really easy to be like, oh no, it won't work. I won't worry about it. But I've done it anyway, which feels really good.
Do it bad, do it wrong, do it anyway.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. Cool.
Do it.
You gonna say something?
Yeah, it's good to have a playground like this. You don't feel so dangerous then because it's a small group.
Yeah.
So I think I will play a little bit more before I do Facebook Live in real life. I've done videos sometimes. Yeah.
That's cool. No, it's good. It's nice to have practice, we have a test group that we created so that we could test out different ways of doing things. Then we just created a Facebook group where both of us are in it, and we test out this technique and that thing, and holding the camera this way and trying it, so just to give us a place where we can do it really badly, and then get more information. Because once you do it a few times, you get more information about what works, what doesn't work. Oh yeah, the camera's up here, and for you to know that I'm looking in your eyes, I have to look at that little hole, and all of it.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So that's
So I was about to ask, what are some of your Facebook Live tips you've garnered over this practice time?
from me or for you guys? Oh, for you guys, or just?
I mean, because you're an expert at it. So what have you learned? What do you now know that you could share with us newbies?
Well, I mean, there's a lot from like when you are going Facebook Live on your business page, when you're just beginning, nobody's going to know it exists. So be ready to actually have your laptop near you when you're first doing that, so that you can share it to your personal page so that more people join you. To do it from your business page, actually, because that actually, even when you share it to your personal page, that video is still on your business page. So it's generating more interest for your business page, which then bumps up the Facebook algorithm. So the more you do that and the more interest there is, even if that you've shared it yourself, Facebook puts you up in the feed. To really like to talk to the camera, because then I'm looking at you. And then also that as people join live, to also expand your awareness to those people joining live and saying hi, and so glad you guys are here. If you have anything, put it in the chat, and making it interactive and not just freaking out and just delivering your message and then getting off, because the point of a live is that I can watch you. Is that you can have a conversation. So, and that's the coolest thing about social media, is that it gives us all these opportunities to interact with people in a way that we wouldn't normally have, because we're, basically home to work to home to the grocery store, home to work to home, so social media actually invites us out of that into interacting with people from all over the world potentially. So, using it as a way to connect and acknowledging people. People love being acknowledged on camera. They really love it. And not everybody. Sometimes I want to go and watch a live innocuously, and I never can, because people are like, oh my God, Crystal. But I know when I'm going onto a live that I'm very likely going to be called out if it's someone I know. And really just having a conversation, like talking to the camera as if I'm talking to you and I'm doing all the talking. So that's what it is for me.
What do you think about making text? Like you can see as a lot of sponsored video clips.
We got captions.
Yeah, because people just scroll. They don't click at the video, so and therefore they are text on it. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea. I've heard a lot
It takes quite a bit of time.
It's not.
It's not easy.
Actually,
I've been given a link that they do it for you in like an hour.
Yeah.
And they give it back to you and it's done. The advantage I think I see with it is that, because often I'm in a space where I don't have the sound on my phone. And if it's a video that doesn't have captions, then I'll scroll past it because I can't listen to it right then. But I'd actually like the message, but I can't listen to it then. And if it's got captions, I'll stay there with it.
So it does take a little bit more time, and you have to post them from your business page. And when you do post them from your business page and you upload or you do the video, you've got to go back in and you have to edit it, and it's got a captions tab. And if you click add captions, it will, and then you need to go back in and edit the captions, because it will try to read your language as best it can. And it will put it all on there, but then you just have to go back in and edit them to what you're actually saying. So it takes a little more time, but I'm hearing from a lot of people, all the big internet business people and stuff, that they do captions on all their ad videos and on all their videos, that they really do want people to listen to. And I do get most of my views are without the sound. So I haven't taken advantage of that as much as I could. Just lazy. # lazy.
So that's just automatic transcribing then. That's cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I understood when you asked about it is that when videos are created and you want your text to come up and not necessarily what's being spoken on the screen. That's a different process where you have to a file with time signatures and the text that you want to show up. Yeah, that's a whole.
Don't do that. That's like too much work. That's too easy. Another fun fact about YouTube is that YouTube has a lot of subtitle capacities as well. And I haven't totally figured it out, but YouTube can actually, there's a little gear on the bottom of YouTube's videos where if you click it, it offers it in different languages. And I'm not totally sure how to use that to my advantage because it doesn't automatically do that. But maybe something we're looking into of like, how do I, like Google it, like how do I?
That's the thing I was talking about. You have to upload a separate file with time signatures and text typed in.
Okay.
Differently.
Yeah, I'd have to Google it and see, but that's another thing. But Facebook videos are a lot simpler.
Less what?
Facebook videos are a lot simpler for subtitles.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, we're over our time. Well, thank you guys. And I would just invite you in the next 2 weeks to choose something that you haven't yet chosen to institute. Like, what haven't you instituted that you could? And, you know, invite yourself to your own challenge. Maybe that's one new thing a week. Maybe it's one small thing a day. Like, invite yourself to an institution challenge. And because we've done a lot of talking and we're doing a lot, and videos are part of that institution. But one small thing every day that you're instituting for your business to actualize it into the world and see what shows up. And maybe it's a new business. It doesn't have to be this business. It could be any business. It could be an idea. It doesn't have to be an official business. But yeah, the institution thing. See what that creates. That's my invitation.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Cool. Yeah. And I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Bye.